morning, and thank you everyone for supporting this webinar. And feel free to roam around and ask questions from Altair. They're here to help you. And thanks to Altair, we were able to put this amazing webinar together with such high caliber speakers. And also to let you know that our actual event will start 9:20. So to log into the main, the first session, you can go to the lobby, go back to the lobby, and in front of you, you will see a couple of sessions, and whichever says enter now, it should be Harry's session, Harry here. So you just press on enter now, and you will be directed to the live session. But before that, please stay engaged. Altair is here to help you if you have any questions, and we're also here if you have any questions, and hopefully you're going to have an insightful and engaging day ahead. And I'm looking forward to officially welcoming you at 9:20 in our at the main session. Thank you very much.
Data drives your business, and every business. Whether you're using it to build your executive strategy or crunching the numbers to mitigate risk and ensure compliance, you need to do more with your data and get more from your data. Our solutions give you better access to more information, access to data that's big and diverse, internal and external, structured and unstructured, static and streaming. This allows you to maximize its value by making it all usable and repeatable. Your analysts and executives need analytics they can trust. And with a secure, unified data marketplace, you can ensure data integrity, data lineage, and better control, so everyone can work together with creativity and confidence to generate greater insight, accountability, and results for you and your organization. That's data intelligence.
I had muted myself. So thank you everyone for attending. My name is Dr. Shadon Murphy. I run the technical operations here in the Asia Pacific. I'm happy to answer any questions in the live chat feed. And hopefully, if you have any questions or comments on the use cases, I can guide that discussion. And I think one of the key characteristics and the recurring themes that came out from the conversation today from all of the presenters, and one of the leading issues that came out in the polls was the concept of the desire and need to get into predictive analytics, but the inability to get the data to begin with. So locked in data processes, or rather data being inaccessible. And so if you have any questions around that, how to extract data from PDFs, or if your PDFs come in unusual areas or very complicated Excel sheets, for example, cross tabulations and similar, I'm happy to discuss that. Okay, I am getting a private message from someone. Thank you, David Webb. So one of the questions that they had was yes. Okay, so the fundamental aspect of this question is they have data coming in from a variety of sources, and they understood how Monarch was able to. Monarch is the data preparation tool that we have. So they understand that Monarch can connect to these multiple data sources, PDF, Excel files, and whatnot. But their question is, how can we deploy this in an Excel sheet of a custom design. And actually, the implication of this question is seems they have a very custom report using, I believe what he's implying is Excel macros. And essentially, yes, we are able to do this we are actually able to code using Monarch Server in VBA, so that there is actually a way for us to integrate and support very complex reports. So we're able to take data from multiple sources and then actually we're able to replicate Monarch or macro-like procedures in Monarch. And then we're able to, and this is in the replicated and audited way, so you know exactly what's happening. And then we can then export it not only into databases and other Excel files and CSV, but actually also in reports itself. And another question has come out. So someone else they work, what they've discovered when they've started along this analytics journey, and that's, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. So one of the questions that Jennifer had was they have these cross tabulations that come out in very commonly in reports, and these cross tabulations make it very difficult for them to extract the data and form the data in a way that allows them to extract data in a way that's consumable for a computer. One of the questions that they had was, can we structure this? So I think one of the questions that they had, so I was getting some background noise there, was can we take these cross tabulations and structure them in the exact same way that you saw in the PDFs? And the answer is yes. So Monarch is able to take the very complex structured reports that come from cross tabulations and basically producing reports in a human readable way and modifying it into a column oriented, or what we call a long data set. And yes, we are able to do that. I'd like to introduce you to some of the other team members that we have within the Asia Pacific that have joined us. We have Michelle. She has a long and varied background with Altair. She's a solution specialist here in Singapore. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Also on the technical team is Wen Hao. He has been with the company for a number of years, specializing in predictive analytics and data preparation. Welcome. And for sales, we also have Sathara. Sathara, welcome. She's just dropped off, but she's there. Okay, I'm just getting some additional questions that are coming through on the private chat. I think people are reluctant to talk publicly. Feel free to post publicly, but I don't blame you for messaging me privately. One of the questions was, so one of the questions that's coming in is there's a lot of mention of predictive analytics, but there was confusion about how they could use predictive analytics in their environment. And okay, so, and the question that they're specifically referring to is fraud. And so they're doing auditing, and one of the questions is, how can you specifically use predictive analytics to identify cases of potential fraud? And so I'm assuming here what they've understood is that Monarch is able to prepare this data for analysis. And now the question is, how can we actually use this data to identify these unusual characteristics. One way to do this, and they don't know how to code. One way to do this is using, that's a very good question. So we do have a platform called Knowledge Studio. Knowledge Studio is a predictive analytics platform that actually integrates directly with Monarch. And so this is a very common question that we get. And the Monarch prepares the data. Knowledge Studio analyzes this for outliers. One way to detect outliers is there's various statistical approaches. They can be very complex, they can be rules-based, or they can be automated in its detection. And so we do have a capability within Knowledge Studio to detect outliers. These are using various distance metrics. If we want to get complicated, maybe the Z-score is something that's often used to calculate it, or decision trees. These are features that you can do automatically within our software called Knowledge Studio, and it's code-free. So Monarch is for data preparation. Knowledge Studio is for the predictive analytics. So just taking a look at some of the poll information here. Okay, so we have some interesting polls, and if you'd like, I can comment
Static and streaming.
on that.
This allows you to maximize its value.
So the polls that are
Yeah, sorry, Shadan, just want to chime in that we do have a few responses for the polls, but if you are looking to add your input, if you go to the chat window, to the right of that, there are the polls, and you can submit your answer. And this just is for good discussion. One of the polls that is actually interesting is asking, what types of files are the most difficult to work with. One of them, the options being, you only work with structured data sources, or you're working with text and PDFs, or you're not. So it looks like, it's split between people who work with PDFs and those that don't. And I think Harrison did a really great job in showing how you can import and ingest different types of data sets, including semi-structured data sources like PDFs and text files that are often, more challenging to import and do analysis on, just because, it's unstructured or semi-structured. So if you have certain outputs from ERP systems, accounting systems, or even expense reports from employees, being able to leverage that within Monarch to do additional analysis can be really helpful for your auditing activities. So keep them coming in the polls and keep the questions coming.
Thank you, Michelle. One of the questions that we just had was, does the system, does Monarch connect to databases? Yes, that is correct. We are able to connect to a number of different databases using built-in drivers. So this includes things like MySQL, Microsoft Access, ODBC drivers, Oracle, SQL, Azure. But essentially, we can connect to almost any database using the ODBC driver. And I've gotten a chat here. Okay, so one of the questions was the idea of, yes, so thank you very much, Buntu. So Buntu has asked a private question to me around the deployment of Monarch. So Monarch itself is a desktop application. And what they're interested in is, do you have a cloud-based version? And yes, we do have a cloud-based version of Monarch. And this is the advantage of the cloud-based version, in addition to it being cloud-based and others, is that it also facilitates enterprise sharing of data sets and collaborating and ensuring quality of data. So the cloud version of Monarch also supports group consent on the quality of data. So this is bringing the data governance and data quality assurance from one individual to a group, and that a group can review, audit, and then approve the quality of this data. Okay, a few more questions coming in. Okay, Melissa has asked me if I have any advice on how to avoid being detected or being avoiding fraud. So I assume they have criminal intent and they want my advice. So we do supply this service, but we charge a little bit more, and we can have a private conversation about that. So either avoiding or detecting. I'm not entirely sure. So if you want to correct it. Okay, sorry. What they're asking for is, are there any statistical approaches best used to detect fraud? One of the challenges with fraud, there's two challenges with detecting fraud. The first is the concept of, okay, thank you. So the first challenge with detecting fraud is that there's relatively few cases of fraud compared to the list of transactions. And so if you were to look at a data set, maybe 99% of it is behaving normally, and the 1% is behaving abnormally. And so it becomes very difficult using conventional statistical techniques to understand and detect that 1%. And so one way to do this is an approach called it's a series of aggregations. So you're not looking to classify fraudulent results or non-fraudulent results. So, for example, if a single person is depositing, as we saw in Australia, there were cases where there was money laundering going on and fraudulent or suspicious transactions around ATMs, where basically people were putting in ATMs dollar values just below the reportable level of $10,000. So they were putting in 9,000, 9,500 repeatedly. And the way they detected this, they used predictive analytics to detect this. And the way they did this was simply they made a distribution of the data of transactions on a given day for a particular ATM, and then they looked at the extreme values. So this is one way you can use to detect fraud. And then this is, I think, what I was alluding to previously in Knowledge Studio, where we can begin to take a look at outlier detection. Okay, Jeffrey, thank you. He's asked if we have the ability to visualize this. So yes, that's correct. So Monarch itself has visualizations. Knowledge Studio has visualizations. And there's actually another product we have called Panopticon, which is focused on the visualization of data in real time. It doesn't have to be real time, but it's excellent at viewing data in real time. And so certainly we have people that are visualizing data in real time, specifically around ATMs and also the delivery of goods. And basically, organizations feel that if they can see the process, if they can understand it, then they're 50%, 80% of the way to understanding what's happening within their data. And so we do have a visualization platform called Panopticon, which connect to historical and also live stream data. We also can support and work with you if people are interested in, like, getting an SMS if a rule is violated or some action happens, so we can have a real-time visualization system and alert system that comes from that as well. One question that's coming up is the expected return on investment for Monarch. So it's a difficult question for me to answer because the return is going to be coming from the number of users that are going to be using the tool, the specific types of deployment and so on. But essentially, what we generally see for each deployment that we go into an organization is about 100% improvement in productivity. So if it was taking you days, it will now be substantially reduced. So 24 hours to, well, actually, once you automate it, you only have to do it once. So it might take, a little bit of time for you to build the robotic process or the workflow. But once that's built, then actually what would take days or weeks would basically become automatic. So that's one way people use our tool. They spend a lot of time up front building repeatable processes, and then they automate the whole process. This is one way people use Monarch. The other way people use Monarch is simply a tool alongside Excel or some other program, in which they quarterly, monthly, they use it to import data and extract it and play with it and understand it and then produce the desired output. So this is one of the expectations. One question here from Rosemary. Thank you, Rosemary. And feel free to post publicly as well. You don't need to message me privately. But one question that's come up, they've asked me about the role of coding in this area. And so, yeah, I'm assuming that the coding is either in like R or Python coding. Certainly we are seeing this, but one of the, so I was talking to a really professional programmer, and his suggestion to me was to focus on my domain understanding, build my domain expertise, and then take advantage of tools that allowed me to empower that. And so if you have the ability to take advantage of your domain expertise and a tool that allows you to facilitate that, you'll probably find that's where you'll be most beneficial, because there are thousands and thousands of programmers. And so you can pick up a book, you can learn how to program, and that will empower you, definitely. So if you want to do it, go for it. But where the real strength is when you have the ability to understand a domain and then empower that domain understanding into action. That's where the real power is. And I think that's probably the basis of the concept of things like citizen data scientist or citizen data engineer, in which you're able to take these concepts and then empower your organization with various pieces of software. Okay, and another question has come to me is around support. So we do have, okay, thank you. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Chuhan. Okay, so I think you're talking about the trial. So we do have a trial for the software, and in fact, the trial that's being offered is for Monarch, but if you're interested in Knowledge Studio or Panopticon, you can reach out. We do encourage a supported use of the software. So we're more than happy to support you in your use and application and trial. So you can reach out to one of the salespeople, Sathara, Mayank, and we can support you through your development and training and use of the software. We're more than happy to do that. That's what keeps us employed. That's what we do. We do that with lots of customers, and we have lots of experience with your relevant use cases. Okay. All right, I'll wait for a minute. I think the questions are still coming for me. So someone has asked about automation. Yes, so we do have automation. We have automation for all of our products, actually, but specifically for Monarch, we do all the automation with the concept of with using another program called Monarch Server. So Monarch that's what the free trial is about. Monarch allows you to build the workflow and process directly on your desktop. And then if you want to automate it, you would use Monarch Server. So Harry talked a little bit about that. And then Knowledge Hub has built-in automation as well. I think someone was going to say something, and I think that was someone else. No,
it was just me. I was just going to chime in if there was another break from questions, just because I think there's a pop-up for an offer. So for those who are interested in perhaps a 2-week trial or talking to, Shadon, me, Wenhao, Satara, Mayank individually, that is a really great way for you to do that. So I think we've extended the trial for the participants in this webinar. So you guys get, a special longer term sort of thing. So, here's the trial. So feel free to, fill out that form, and we can keep in touch and show you a more customized demo of how you guys can leverage Monarch, and even show you the automation aspects of it as well. So sorry, Shadon, I just wanted to chime in there if there was a break from your direct messages.
no problem. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. Someone is asking about the expiration of the trial. I don't actually know how long it goes on for. Sorry, I don't have that information off the top of my head. So I would encourage you just to. I haven't followed the link. I have free access to the software, so I don't know about the details of when this offer expires, but I assume it's the end of the day for this offer. Great. I guess getting a question here. So someone's asked my question on the concept of what's more important, automation or manual use of the software. So I think the question is, do we need Monarch Server? No, you don't need Monarch Server. I think what people are finding is that if you have hundreds of processes or 50 processes, and when I say process, I mean, let's say you have one report that you have in a single month. So you have lots of data sets coming in, and you combine all those data sets, transform those data sets, and produce a single output. That's one process. And so if you have 1, 2, 3 of those processes a month or week, maybe you don't need Monarch Server to automate it. You can just do it manually. This is one way to do it. The other way to do it is to definitely, yes, automate it. But I think in either case, what you'll end up finding is that you'll end up with significant improvements in productivity. And another question has just come up about support of languages. We support multiple different languages. It's not just English. So we support Chinese and Japanese and other languages. Yes, so we have a slightly different interface for that. But yes, we support languages that are different from English for in Monarch and actually all of our software. And we have, if you speak a different language, we probably have someone in the company that with expertise in Monarch that can help you with that as well. Too. Sorry, Mayank, did I interrupt you? Were you going to say something? Okay.
No, Shredan, I think you pretty much covered it all. So the idea is basically to help our, audiences and the organizations with the free evaluation, that how Altair can help, all of the, joinees and the respective organizations in their data analytics journey. So we are offering free trials to, all the people who have joined, today's sessions, and we are here to extend our help on that. So I've already, dropped few comments in the chat section. So you can reach out to me directly asking for the free trials and, for the guided evaluation, and we can pick the conversation from there as well. Plus, yeah, I mean, you can also, reach out to talk about the preferential, commercials for all the audiences. We are also, extending some, discounts if they are able to, use our software within this year. So, yeah, feel free to reach out.
Sure, thank you. So we do have a question around extracting data from images. So face recognition, biometrics, picture, image, or document. So yes, so we do. We can support you in this. We have there's open source and commercial tools that support this type of data extraction. One of them is AVI, which is a commercial organization that we partner directly with, and Apache Tesseract or Tika. These are also tools that you can use for the OCR capability. So we do have the ability to extract data from OCR. In terms of actually analyzing it and building a classification model to predict faces or recognize images, yes, we also support this with a product we have called Altair Embed, which is based upon OpenCV in Python. So we do support this as well. So if you're trying to extract text and text extraction, we have the ability to support you in this as well. And I had sorry, we also, if you have PowerPoints or documents here that where you have tables within PowerPoints that you need to extract, we can also do this using something we have called a table extractor that's built into Monarch. So we also have the ability to do that as well.
So one poll result I found very interesting was the one asking about, are you considering using technology to automate reporting to redirect resources to more critical activities? So it was torn pretty much almost 50-50 between yes, but we rely on IT to drive this, and yes, we have automated processes where it makes sense. So what I found interesting was that 50% of people from this poll rely on IT to drive this. And that's actually quite common, and we do see that with our clients relying on IT for these automated processes. But what they run into is if they need to change the automation, if the distribution is changing, somebody who is supposed to be receiving these outputs have left the company or a new person joined. So involving IT to automate these processes in the long run can actually cause a lot of challenges and hurdles for the team. So one thing about Monarch Server that can be very beneficial is that the end user, so people who are building these processes and data prep sort of ETL runtimes, can create these automations by themselves. And this is using drag and drop through Monarch Server rather than relying on scripting. So this allows for an auditable trail. If a new colleague comes in, they can really understand how this automation works. And if there are changes that need to be made, or if it's broken down the line, the end user can actually investigate and understand where it went wrong without requiring IT help. So that poll question was really piqued my interest. It sounds like 50% of people are automating these processes and 50% are as well, but relying on IT. So there is a different way to approach this using Monarch Server. All right, so I think there are a few questions coming in, so I'm just gonna mute my mic as we address them. So I think there's a question in the chat from Jamia. If you have any questions, you can email the team. So I think we can drop some of the emails in the chat here. Mayank, Satara. I think Mayank actually dropped his email at the top. So he's probably the best person to contact if you have any questions. Thanks, Mayank.
And just to, we did get a question here around the duration of the trial for Monarch, and that's 1 month for this offer.
Yeah, and throughout the offer and throughout the trial, we are here to help you so that you see the best success. We'll create a success criteria with you in the beginning, show you the ins and outs of the tool, and these sessions are all, one-on-one, so you guys can really get the value out of it. We also do have an e-learning platform if you prefer to learn on your own, pace yourselves through the education process. So it's really up to you how you want to leverage the tool. And 1 month is actually a lot longer. We're giving you double time.
And that's right. Actually, in terms of educational materials for Monarch, we do have an online community. We do have an online university, and actually Monarch itself has built-in videos and training material within Monarch and help documentation as well.
So we do really encourage reaching out to discuss your specific use case. It may not be just for a demo or just for a trial of the license, but what we encourage is reach out to us and let's have a use case discussion. Every company, the challenge that auditors face or the specific finance team face are quite unique. In terms of data sources, in terms of what exactly they need automated, and in terms of how the teams work. So I find it always really helpful to discuss the use cases in detail, and our team will have some ideas. Oh, this is some workarounds that you specifically try in your team environment. So we really encourage that reach out, and we will have our technical team also join in and really discuss how we can create a specific tailored solution for you, and that could work the best for you. Any other questions?
So one question that I've received is around connecting to big data sources. And yes, we can connect to these data sources. I assume they're talking about Spark and so on. So we can connect this directly from Monarch, and we also have tools. If you need big data, we also have tools to do this as well on Spark, and we've got tools specifically around this as well. One question, do you connect to SAP? Yeah, so we do have connectors to SAP as well. So if you need to connect to NetSuite or business objects or other features, then yes, Monarch can help connect you there, as well as yes, Salesforce. Yes, we can also connect to Salesforce as well if you have that. And basically any data source that you have, we can connect to. It can be online, it can be a spreadsheet, it can be. That's what Monarch is known for. It's known for collecting to basically anything that you might have.
So Sridham, there is one more question around the governance and collaboration capabilities of Monarch. So if you would like to touch base real quick on that.
Sure. Okay, I see you sent it to me in a chat. Thank you, Mayank. Yeah, so essentially, one of the strength. Okay, so the question is two parts. So the first is the concept of understanding exactly the process that an individual took in developing the data. So we do have this within the software itself. So everything that you do is tracked so it can be audited, and not only serve as a permanent documentation of exactly what you've done, but if you need to hand this project off to someone else, they know exactly what's happened. And then in terms of collaboration, I'm assuming what they're talking about is collaboration of data sets. So yes, this is also central to the tool, collaboration of process through Monarch Server, which is responsible for the automation, but also Knowledge Hub. This is essentially creates a data marketplace that we have built into the data preparation tool. The product itself, thank you, Sue. The product itself is been around for about 30 years, well known and regarded in North America, where the company was originally founded.
Data drives your business, and every business. Whether you're using it to build your executive strategy or crunching the numbers to mitigate risk and ensure compliance, you need to do more with your data and get more from your data. Our solutions give you better access to more information, access to data that's big and diverse, internal and external, structured and unstructured, static and streaming. This allows you to maximize its value by making it all usable and repeatable. Your analysts and executives need analytics they can trust. And with a secure, unified data marketplace, you can ensure data integrity, data lineage, and better control, so everyone can work together with creativity and confidence to generate greater insight, accountability, and results for you and your organization. That's data intelligence.